Hi, and welcome back. Today we'll continue the Hollywood movie title series. We're going to be looking at the animation style of movie Wrath of the Titans. In the first part in Cinema 4D, we will see how to make this chisel bevel. I will show also how to make the lighting, materials and animation of the letters logo. We will continue in After Effects with the styling composed to create a simulation of incandescent lava. In the letters of the logo, we will complete the entire project with this particular lens flares and the dark clouds background, style 300 graphic novel. Very interesting animation. At the end of this tutorial, you can learn how to draw and animate your own title with this cool style. The actual example of the Wrath of the Titans movie title is just for training purposes and is not to be used in a final personal project without permission from the original creators. Okay, we open the file Start on Cinema. As we can see, I have organized the files in order to be ready to begin the tutorial. Unfortunately, this tutorial is not suitable for people unfamiliar with the use of 2D vector drawing software tool in depth. I extracted all the splines that make up the chisel profile of the letters, starting from the first outer contour of the letters. For the reference, I used the movie poster. But, to achieve this, first, I draw the external profile of each letter, and after, I divided all the various parts of the 2D chisel impact. To better organize the work, all parts of the chisel bevel of the letters have been entered in sequence within a group. Let's see in detail. For example, these are all splines that make up the W letter. Obviously, all the external path of the letters are referred to as basic logo, and have been grouped in a second group layer. This makes it easy to identify and select each letter or part of a letter. The concept design and techniques used in this particular title animation contain many interesting details. We will try to extract the more evident particulars, which are those which distinguish the impact of this style. The font used is a very popular commercial fonts. On the basic design of the letters were made slight modifications. I would say that the result is really cool. Okay. Let's proceed with the creation of the bevel of the letters of the logo. This is the final result of a very simple procedure. All letters, even if they are with different shapes, are treated with the same technique. The only difference is the depth of extrusion, but this can be changed as you like. Okay, proceed with the realization of a letter. In this case I chose the letter A. As I said, after having obtained all the parts that make up the 2D chisel impact. All parts means that the edges of the junctures have points in common. To learn how to do this, it takes practice and a trained eye to see a chisel bevels on the letter. So, working on the main path which corresponds to the outer profile of the letter. So I repeat, all paths are make closed splines. Now we apply an Extrude NURBS tool. Activate the hierarchical check. We set a depth of 0.01. This serves to have the polygonal surface of the chisel. Select all spline layers, and activate the Selection Point tool. With the Rectangular Selection tool, we disable the check, only visible elements. And with the Shift key pressed, select all points that need to be modified. Now, we can move along the Z position. You can apply the size position that you like. We can improve the final result by adding a chamfer. Activate on Start menu, Fillet Cap, with Step 5, and Radius 0.17. As we can see, we have a rounded bevel on all junctures. Very cool. At this point, we proceed with the base of the letter. Also in this case, we apply an extrusion, with the check hierarchical active. To have a continuity of the bevel of the chisel, activate on Start and End, the same cap fillet value. Perfect. As we can see, it is not complicated to have this fantastic result. Obviously, all of the letters should be applied the same technique. The more complex job is to prepare all letters with a 2D drawing chisel spline. This takes about a couple of hours. But in the end result is very great. View the result. The sense of impressiveness and epic one reads between the spacing of the letters. I love it. Now, let's see how we can improve the result by the placement of lights. In this project, I chose a system of 2 lights. Omni and Area Light Type. The Area Light Type has the purpose of to evenly illuminate the entire front part of the letters. So, these are the parameters of position and intensity of the area light. The Shadow Maps function is active. For the Omni, I have chosen a position at the top right to illuminate the upper part of the chisel bevel, bringing out the shaded surfaces of the logo on the left. These are the coordinates X, Y, and Z. View the result. Perfect. Now, we proceed with the insertion of the camera. In this case I used the type Target Camera. I will explain why, later. As we can see, the point of view which gives us the camera target, as is the original video, slightly inclined towards, so as to be visible the lower base of the letters. In this case, the camera is always fixed on Z position, to -1920. But thanks to the target plate which has a pin function in the center of the scene, changing the Y position is automatically set to the rotation P. In fact, if we set Y with value 0, the result is not like the original video. We can admire the result, inserting in the render settings panel, the correct values of the scene. 1920. 816. Very cool. In this animation title, we have for the first time, a very complex material. Procedural, with the support of specific maps for the simulation of fracture surfaces of all the letters. Okay, this is the impact after the application of this material. Viewed this way, seems to have no special features. I forgot, in addition to this incredible material, which I used in my various jobs, we have the support of the famous lava material, which I have already used in the chain of Ghost Rider, and the Conan's tutorial. Obviously, given the mask, made thanks to activation in the alpha panel. In pre-multiplied mode, I show you in detail the material, rock body. All the details you see are generated in procedurally technique, by means of layer tool materials of cinema. But for this type of fracture, I prefer used a sequence of maps, generated so that the final effect of simulation is plus as real possible. I refer in particular to the maps, diffusion, bump, normal, specular color and displacement. We see the result of the render. Unparalleled. It is important to note that as the original video fractures do not correspond to the incandescence of the lava. This detail is very important. What is a layer tool? On the procedural materials? Imagine having a software like Photoshop, with all various overlapping mode and opacity levels inside your 3D software. Perfect. You got it. The possibilities of getting very complex maps such as this is very infinite. Please note, are indispensable years of studies and tests to be able to make materials with these realistic results. But it's never too late to begin to understand this powerful tool, which is present in all professional 3D softwares. I am pleased to provide this material for all AHUTS Plus users. I think, in the future, to put in the lineup some tutorials that will speak well of this topic. Stay tuned with us, always. Okay, in the next step, sees the animation of the letters of the logo with a small support of the camera. This is the result of the animated sequence of the letters. As we can see, In the first part, the effect of the animation must have a feeling random, in the sense that the letters start moving from behind the camera, or must have all different positions and rotations. From the frame 55, we have a collective rotation P of all the letters, to define the closure of the sequence in original mode. I show you an aerial right view of the entire sequence. This is the distribution of the letters for the first part. Ends to frame 25. Obviously, with your logo, based on the number of letters that it is composed, you can play and experiment with whatever movement you like. I forgot, like the original video sequence, is spread on many frames. After the frame 25, the logo remains stable until to the frame 55. Here, we have a random rotation. As already I mentioned on rotation P, of all the letters, with reference to the closing frame, 75. In the meantime we have a fade out with black color, up to the last frame. That is, 90. A feature of the sequence, is that the letters must arrive in such a way as not to overlap. Let me explain. The word, wrath, must come from above, as the word, titans, from below, and finally, of the, from center. In this way, the arrival of the letters it fills all the spaces in a harmonious way on our scene. Simple, is brilliant. I want to mention, one of the hidden details of the original video, sees the fracture of the middle letter A and H at the end of the sequence. That is, if you like this idea, you can apply to your logo version. Very importantly, we must first organize all groups layers of letters, one by one, in order to work well on any letter, compared to its axial center pivot. The position and rotation will be perfect. Yeah. These are all construction lines of the keyframe movements of the letters. They do understand well the trajectory of each letter. As I said, we have a circular distribution. All letters have the same time of origin and destination. This is important if you do not want to have problems with the shadows. We complete to explain the concept. For the creation of this animation, we have also a sequence of the camera. This make the sequence always in motion along z-axis. Start to frame 0. Minus 1800. To be in the 90 frame, to minus 2050. Finally, as last detail of this interesting animated sequence, is the change in depth of the body of the letter, during the flying movement. I show you better. In the first part we have a depth halved, so as not to make it appear the letters exaggerated. When they stop in the frame 25, the value of extrusion becomes effective. To accomplish this, simply add a tween on the movement parameter. In this case, start from the 16 frame, with value 25, and ending at frame 25, with value 50. Of course, apply the same principle on all the other letters. Having said that, we can proceed with the rendering of your logo, and complete the project on After Effects. These are videos that we need for this project. We have the sequence of dark clouds. The logo with just the lava material. The logo with the rock material. And finally, the audio file. OK, open the preview files on After Effects. This is the result on After Effects. The styling compose is very simple and intuitive. Let's go step by step on the structure of this project. This video is a simple dark sky clouds with a gradation of color that recalls the tutorial 300. In the next step, we have the logo rock. On this layer, we find the most important part for the filters application of the entire animation. We have an interpolation on exposure, levels and radial blur. The radial blur is in zoom mode. This creates a nice motion blur to the letters in flight. Start from frame 0, with value 35. Becomes 3, in frame 14. And closes in the frame 21, with a value of 1. The exposure effect give on our logo the correct color and light balance. Start from 14 frame, with these values. And evolves into the frame 21. With 1.5 and 0.4. Very cool. As we can see, with a few simple steps, we have color corrected in our logo. To finish, I added in hue saturation effect, with value 23. To give more color saturation on logo. A tinderbox soft glow, for having a bit of light in the upper surfaces of the logo. To obtain this result, I've set blending parameter to screen. And finally, the levels effect has a specific function towards the end of the sequence. Start from frame 65, with default value. And to end, to frame 70, with the input white, to 166. This makes the logo very dark. Because in this point in the sequence, is important highlight the incandescent material of the lava on the logo. OK, the lava logo layer is in lighten mode. We have an interpolation of opacity, which is 0 in frame 7, to reveal to 100% on the 16th frame. Very nice. As I said before, this serve only to have the glow on the lava logo. I duplicated the layer, was activated on color dodge mode. The interpolation of opacity, start from frame 16, to be 100, on frame 38. To have a more colorful effect, I added a glow filter with these parameters. 17, 30, and 0.8. This glow is in overlay mode. So, we start from the frame 65, and boost in the 70 frame, activating 15, 19, and 1. Very cool. This is the final effect of the logo lava. Okay, we complete the project with the insertion of lens flares. As we already know, the lens is in add mode. To achieve this fantastic result, I used optical flares, that as always, provides everything you need to get any type of lens flares effect. In this case, we have a general orange color, with these values. As interpolations, I activated brightness and X position. This position is in the upper right. The brightness start from frame 0 with a value of 300 to arrive in the frame 42 with 55. This served to obtain this fabulous impact. The sequence ends in the frame 90, with brightness to 20, and position X to 1120. With this last step, we have all the elements that concern us in this incredible animation. Okay, after adding the audio file we can proceed with the final rendering. This is the result of the project. Very cool. I recommend you apply this technique on big logos with linear font, very sharp. Good works. Okay, I remind you the next appointment for the tutorial on the movie title Style Priest. Another interesting title animation. I hope this tutorial has been to your liking.